Hey, what's up my fellow elite Call of Duty professionals? Hope you all had a fantastic week so far. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the Bruen in Warzone, which is in my opinion the best LMG in the game. Now I did make a video quite a while back on this when it first came out, but the meta has changed quite a lot now, so I think it definitely deserves another look. And quite recently, I've seen a bit more people using it now after the Grau was nerfed, but I definitely think there should be way more people using the Bruen in Warzone. And I think the main reason not many people are using it is because you have to do a very annoying challenge to actually unlock it. And unless there is shipment 24/7 playlists going on in the regular multiplayer, it's just a pain in the ass to get this gun because you need to get kills when your enemy is within a smoke grenade and within 3 different times in 15 different matches. So this pretty much makes it impossible almost to get it in regular Warzone. So I'm willing to bet a lot of the free-to-play players won't be using this gun. And by the way, if you do end up enjoying this video, I'd massively appreciate a like and subscribe, but if not, that's fine too. And if you've used the Bruen in Warzone, I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on the gun. I love reading your comments and responding to them, so please feel free to let me know what you think about the Bruen or anything else in this video. Anyways, back onto the video. And if I was to just sum up the Bruen as fast as I could for you, I would say that it's an excellent gun for medium to longish medium range, and it's probably my favorite gun in the game for that purpose. And I know longish medium range is kind of a weird thing to say, but what I really mean by that is it's the range where it's not quite far enough for you to want to pull out a sniper rifle yet, basically, but it is far enough for you to still want to be able to full auto someone. And in several of these clips you'll see here, you can really see me gunning people down at those very long ranges quite comfortably. And the thing that really makes the Bruen so good for this long medium range zone is a combination of 2 things really, which is it's super easy to control recoil and fantastic damage combined with a decent fire rate of 759 rounds per minute. And just to show you guys what the recoil is like on the Bruen compared to the Grau, I've equipped the 60 round mags on both of these guns together with the longest barrel and just went full auto on a wall, which I'll show you right now. Okay, so as you can see here, with the Bruen spray pattern on the left and the Grau spray pattern on the right, the Bruen has much less vertical recoil when you're going full auto compared to the Grau with the 60 round mags. Now the Bruen does unfortunately kick to the left a little bit, as you can see, which can be a bit awkward feeling to some people who are used to guns that kick to the right. And to be honest, this is a reason why some of you might prefer the Grau's recoil still. But if you can get over that, like awkward left-kicking, slightly vertical recoil of the Bruen, I think the Bruen is just a super easy gun to go full auto with people with, so I'd still classify it in that laser category. Now, just as a heads up to you guys, I did do this test after the Grau had received its nerf, but even so, the Grau is still considered one of the most accurate guns in Warzone, which is why I'm using it for the comparison here, rather than spending the entire video comparing the recoil pattern of the Bruen to every other gun, which I think would just make you guys quite bored, to be honest. But anyway, the key point here I'm trying to say is that the Bruen is very easy to use, and you will have little trouble going full auto at people who are far away from you, which makes it just a very annoying gun to have to be on the receiving end of, because you're just going to feel like you're being lasered, pretty much. Okay, and now on to the next thing which makes the Bruen really good as well, and that is its great damage for upper chest hits, which allows you to kill someone with full armor and health in 8 shots up to 58 meters, 9 shots up to 90 meters, and 11 shots from 90 meters onwards. And this is of course if you have the monolithic suppressor and the longest barrel equipped, which in the Bruen's case is the summit barrel, because in Warzone this is kind of like what most people should be using on their guns, so that's why I included it here for the comparisons. Now, before I mention time to kill, it's first important for me to let you guys know that the Bruen does have an open bolt delay of around 67 milliseconds, which basically means that when you press the fire button, the bullets shoot out 67 milliseconds after. And some of you may be quite surprised to hear this, because there have been several other YouTubers in previous videos who will have said that the Bruen does not have any open bolt delay. But from what I've managed to piece together, and from the recent testing that the guys at codgundata.com have done, The Bruen does in fact now have an open bolt delay, so I think it must have received a nerf or something not too long ago.
This is so slow.
Okay, so with all that said, now if we translate this into time to kill against someone with full health and armor, including that open bolt delay of 67 milliseconds on the Bruen, this gives the Bruen a realistic time to kill of essentially 620 milliseconds up to 58 meters, 699 milliseconds up to 90 meters, and 857.5 milliseconds for ranges past 90 meters. And that's, of course, if you were using the monolithic suppressor and longest barrel attachment. And to get a good view of how this time to kill looks compared to the other really popular meta guns for medium range in Warzone right now, which are of course the Grau, the M4, the Kilo, and the M13, I've made a chart here that shows this all nicely at the various damage range drop-offs of these weapons. And of course, the lower the line is, the lower the time to kill is, and that's what we want to see. And just in case you guys can't see it properly, the Bruen is the orange one. And we can see here in this chart that the Bruen, even at closer ranges, still beats out these other meta assault rifles, excluding the M4A1. And after about 48 meters or so, you can see here that the Bruen quite noticeably just dominates all these other guns in terms of time to kill. And just as a reminder to you guys, this chart includes that open bolt delay of 67 milliseconds that the Bruen has. And I know I could have probably included the PKM and some of the other LMGs in this chart too, but I think if I started doing that, it would have just made it really cluttered and quite difficult for you guys to see properly. And in these kind of videos, for the weapon I'm reviewing, I do like to compare it to the other top meta guns in the game at the moment, and which are the ones that most people will tend to use, because not only is that more practical, but it also gives you guys a much better mental feel for how the Bruen performs if I compare it and benchmark it to one of the other top tier guns in its medium range category that most of you will probably be quite familiar with anyways. And just to quickly mention it, in the LMG category, the next best LMG will be the PKM, which is also a good choice to be honest, and it's in fact very similar to the Bruen in terms of damage range and recoil, but the 60 round magazine attachment option for the Bruen just makes it a lot more versatile and better in handling, so it's kind of like in between an assault rifle and an LMG now with that 60 round mags, whilst offering similar firepower to the PKM, which is why I think the Bruen, at least for now, is just clearly the superior option for LMGs. Alright, so with all those positives out of the way on the Bruen now, I'm going to talk about the main drawbacks for this gun, at least compared to the other meta guns for medium range, which happen to all be assault rifles right now. And compared to the meta assault rifles of this game, as you've probably guessed, the main drawback to the Bruen is its movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed. Basically, all its handling stats are just noticeably worse than the meta assault rifles at the moment. And just to give you guys a flavor of what this is like, with a typical setup of the longest barrel attachment with a tac laser and the 60 round mags and monolithic suppressor for both the Grau and the Bruen, the Grau would have an aim down sight speed of 297 milliseconds compared to the Bruen's 431 milliseconds, which makes the Grau just much faster and snappier. And when you combine this with its faster sprint to fire speed and better movement speed, the Grau will just be able to more often than not get the first shot off quicker in a close range firefight situation, and therefore I think it does have a clear upper hand in a close range gunfight. And it's quite a similar case for the other assault rifles too, versus the Bruen in close range. And if you remember earlier, I said the Bruen, even with its open bolt delay, kills faster in close range gunfights. I think the worse handling and worse aim down sight speed will end up making the Bruen actually worse in a close range gunfight. So it's not always about time to kill, but definitely in those like longer range gunfights, kind of like past 48 meters or so, the Bruen just clearly is the winner there. But in close range, it's not so good, I'm afraid. Right, so with all that said and done now, I'm gonna go over the best attachments to run on the Bruen, and these are the monolithic suppressor, summit barrel, 60 round mags, tac laser, and VLK sight. Now, some other big YouTubers might recommend you use the Horizon barrel to make the Bruen a bit snappier, but in my opinion, the Summit barrel is better even though it has a worse aim down sight speed of 58 milliseconds compared to the Horizon's 33 milliseconds. Now this is because it makes up for this aim down sight speed penalty of having 33% bullet velocity, 33% better bullet velocity, and 10% less recoil, and 5% more range than the Horizon barrel does. And I think the way you should be running the Bruen is to really focus it on those medium to long range engagements, because if you can pick a fight with someone who is more than 50 meters away from you, you will have the clear upper hand against someone using any of the other meta assault rifles for medium range. Now, I would also suggest when you're running the Bruen class setup, you to have another gun that's good for close range. And in my personal loadout, I like to use the Bruen together with the FAL, because at the moment the FAL is just super overpowered for close range. But if you don't like how the FAL handles, an SMG like the MP5 or MP7 works fine too. Now, in my experience, pairing up the Bruen with a sniper rifle doesn't really work that well unless you're able to just hardcore camp at the edges of the circle the entire game. So while I'm using a Bruen, I would still rather stick with an assault rifle. And yeah, if you're planning to run with a sniper, I'd recommend you use an assault rifle as well. So that kinda sums it up for this video now, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button for me. But if not, that's fine too, no problem. I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video now. Thanks, and stay safe.